What is up, guys? My name is Travis, and for the first video on this channel, I wanted to talk about how to remember what you watch and read, because that's going to be very important for future uploads that I do. Lots of people struggle to remember things that they've watched or read. They spend a lot of time on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, and they get a lot of information, especially through other self-improvement channels, that they then don't do anything with. They don't remember it. They don't implement it. As an example, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about a book that she was reading, a fiction book. And when I asked her what it was about, all she could really give me was some information about it's about a dragon and something to do with someone writing it. And later I found out the book was actually Eragon. But at the time, it didn't really make any sense. I wasn't sure what she was talking about, and it was clear that she didn't remember anything that she actually read. So probably the first most important thing to make sure that you actually do process what you're reading or watching is that you're in the right mindset. So this can be hard to do, especially for university work or anything that's a bit more timely. But if you have the time, make sure that you're relaxed, that you're ready to watch the thing or read the thing, preferably in its entirety, but at the very least, to be able to sit down and get a good solid half hour's worth of work out of it. If you're going to be distracted by wanting to eat, wanting to drink something, wanting to go and do something else, you're not actually going to get much out of what you're reading or watching. The biggest issue with watching YouTube videos, for example, is that a lot of people will do this while they're doing something else, like playing video games or watching Netflix or even exercising. And you're not picking up any information from those videos if you're just watching them passively. If you want to get the most out of it, you need to be focused on it and making sure that you're not distracted, that you're comfortable, and that you're ready to actually do the work. So if this is something that's timely, like a university lecture or a class that you're sitting down for at school, you may not have the option to find an actual good time to do it. You'll just have to do it when you're told to. And that's fine. You just got to be prepared that you won't get the most out of it, which is where the second step comes in for those situations. But even if you are in the right mindset, this second step is what's really going to get the most out of it. And that's that you write down what you learn. So reason why this is important is, regardless of whether it's a video, a book, a lecture, whatever it may be, if you don't write down the important parts of it, if you're going to try and recollect any of this, you need to go through the entire thing again. And that's not going to work for trying to actually do anything about that information. If I had to rewatch an entire hour-long lecture to remember how to do a math equation, there's no chance that I'm going to pick it up. But if I jot down the important parts of it, then I won't need to sit down and rewatch the whole thing. I can just go through the notes. And that's also important for when you're reading a book. Even if you bookmark it, you still then have to reread that specific paragraph. And that can be helpful, but it's just as helpful for you to actually jot down the important information in your own words as it relates to you. That way, you're more likely to both remember it and actually implement it. And that also gives you something to go back to. So you're not rereading a 150, 200 page book. You're just reading through the 4 or 5 pages of notes that you made for them. And the last and most important part is that you actually go ahead and implement it. If you don't implement it, whatever it may be, then you're not actually getting anything out of it. And obviously you won't actually remember it because you haven't done anything with it. So if this is university information or school information, do some practice questions, do some practice exams, and actually utilize what you've learned. If it's something to do with coding or art, create something with it. It doesn't have to be anything fantastic and groundbreaking. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just do something with that information. The amount of times that in my university studies as a software engineer, I've learnt something and then never actually implemented it. And then when it came time to actually do that for an assignment, I didn't remember how to do it. I then had to go back through hours and hours of lectures to recollect what that thing was. And that is not only frustrating when you just want to get the assignment done, but it also means that I'm less likely to remember it when it comes time for an exam, or if I do actually need to use this in the future, I'll then actually have to go back through my notes that I wrote just to get that information again. Now that I'm actually implementing what I'm learning, I'm not even having to go back through the notes. I actually do remember how to implement, for example, dynamic programming. And that will really, really help you in the future, because the less time that you spend trying to remember or relearn things, the more time you can actually get and do the work. So, and the last and probably most important thing is to actually, and this is the hidden fourth step that I didn't mention, is that you need to find information that's actually worthwhile. There is a lot of information out there on the internet that is completely worthless and superfluous to your life or society as a whole. If you're not interested in soccer, don't watch a video on how to play soccer better, how to kick a ball better, how to pass, or how to dribble. There's no point. You're just watching it because you want the mental the mental, I guess, gratitude for yourself that I'm doing something important when you really aren't. So that's not to say that you can't learn new things, but if you're not actually going to implement it, then there's no point trying to learn it. There's no point trying to learn how to use a new editing software if you're really not going to use it. There's no point learning how to make music unless you're actually going to try and make music. It's fine to have a hobby, but it's not productive and not going to help you if you don't do anything with it. I spent plenty of time learning how to edit videos and then never did anything with it because I didn't have a YouTube channel. It was wasted time that I could have spent doing something far more productive, like learning better coding practices or spending more time in my university studies. So hopefully you got something out of this video. If you did, obviously head down the bottom, subscribe. I'm aiming to try and upload a video a week, and hopefully if you implement these things, these future videos, you'll actually get something out of. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.